Now let me take you on a journey. Escape within your mind. Envision a local gymnasium at the Y. Half the lights off. Small card table in the corner, stacked with styrofoam cups and free coffee. Group of people you don't know. Half dead eyes, like sharks that have lost their will to hunt. This is episode 10 of BloodShot Eyes, Sore Thumbs Podcast.
Topical.
I didn't know if this was a eulogy or not.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Oh man, I can't keep a straight face. Hey, what's up? Hello, once again, everybody in listener interwebs land. This is the BloodShot Eyes and Sore Thumbs Podcast. Some would call it the best.
I sure would. I'm with you on that one.
For sure. Now, we're going to do something a little bit different this week with our website going up and our Twitter banging. By banging, we have 5 followers, so we're hoping to pick that up a little bit.
That's almost one a day. We're doing good.
We kind of wanted to make it a little bit more personal this time now that we're 10 shows in. Maybe tell the crowd a little bit about us and make some friends on the interwebs and play some video games and all that. So we're here at our Game Players Anonymous meeting. It's early time on a weeknight. Somebody's playing basketball in the other room, so
keep it quiet over there, Kobe.
Yeah. Before we get into that, let me just talk about a little bit of news that just came out. We'll sum it up. We'll say a little bit more information on the Nemesis system from Shadow of War, a game that Brent and Eagle have both got me excited about, having never played the previous Lord of the Rings game that came out. We'll be getting to that a little bit. Call of Duty. World War II news. They had a live broadcast this week and talked about the details of their game coming out. And Sexy Brutale.
I was just going to say, it's weird to have some news about World War II in 2017.
I was sitting here with a paper this morning, flipping through, waiting on the wife to get my eggs. She takes forever. I think it's more like 1920s. I don't think that's what... Who knows? Whatevs.
I don't know.
20-year difference?
It's in the old,
it was before Tupac,
days.
so I don't care.
But I didn't mean to cut you off. You were saying that the Sexy Brutale came out this week as well.
Oh, yeah, and that's more coming from you. Eagle gave it a try, and boy, am I fascinated. I have it on my Xbox, but I lived at work this past weekend. So after recording today, I'm going to get me a Jake break and catch up a little bit. So
sounds like a candy bar.
I actually just had a certain candy bar that satisfies according to the rapper. So y'all can connect the dots on that one. So yeah, what we're going to do is kind of an Alcoholics Anonymous style show where we introduce ourselves and we just talk a little bit more about us. I know that's probably not the most riveting news in the world, but hey, it's our show. So yeah.
Hey, I want to peel back a couple pages in the old Jake book and see what's going on back there.
Oh boy. It's not pages, it's like folded intricately like a throwback map.
You're like a origami crane.
Yeah, but that's like a swan napkin.
I'm more of like a pig towel on a cruise ship.
It's not that interesting, bro. I kind of wish I had like some kind of narration or something to make it look like Morgan Freeman or something narrating my part to make it a little bit more valid. Or like Snoop Dogg. I can listen to Snoop Dogg like say anything. Really, I could just hire him to come on here and say like...
There's a smoothness to it, you know?
Yeah. Just like banana bundle in a bubble bath.
Get your voice exercises in. I hear you.
All right, boys. Well, you got your coffee, your stirry straws.
Yep.
I'm good to go, man. Take me back.
Let me take you on a journey. I am Best Jacob Alive 2, and I play inverted y-axis.
Get him out of here!
Oh, calm down. All right. Well, what I like is when I play games, it's one of my biggest hobbies. It's I like it more than TV. The point is I instantly go to sleep when I watch TV. So for me to relax, I have to get to my flow zone. I have to do something a little bit more in depth with my hands and with my mind, and that's how I relax.
Yeah.
Grew up with Legos and mouth breathing over those for hours and hours. Ain't a damn thing changed. Mostly with games, though, I'm kind of a weirdo. I will be the first to tell you that, but there are too many normal people out there. But I enjoy stories. I enjoy really cool stories, weird stories. I like characters. I like interesting situations and interesting plot twists. And, my first, though I played games when I was younger, I would say my first major wake-up call was playing Metal Gear Solid for a PlayStation that I bought for $20 from one of my little brother's friends. And
tight.
yeah, just, not going to drone on forever. A lot of people are very familiar with it. And I don't want to explain things that everybody already knows, but just that's one of the I'm sure mini games that came out at that time that just what they did with the music, the graphic processing power of the first PlayStation, which at the time was tip top, and just the originality of it and how seriously they took themselves really changed my perspective as somebody who's always enjoyed writing. And who's always just liked cool stories to begin with. It kind of exalted the idea of games in my mind to it's like a whole new medium to tell a story that kind of walks the line of current boundary experience, I would say, that we have as people. Either a book or a moving picture, movies or TVs. I see a video game as walking a line between the two, and thus is a very, very special thing. And that's what made me think I want to write video games, which I know is a bit of a niche desire for profession, and I am aware of that. But at the same time, I've never let go of it, and that's kind of something that's kept me writing. Even if it's not necessarily to make money one day, it's just been the thing to make me sit down.
Well, the
and write
medium
stuff.
of video games is a really cool avenue for someone to express artistic direction in writing, because in movies and in books and writing and things like that, the person enjoying this, the reader or the listener or the audience doesn't normally have a chance to interact at the level of video games.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that's so intriguing to me. And I'm not, and I know in a lot of games, you have to pursue the ending that they gave you, but it's still just a different, just a different experience. And you can have sound and visual and player interaction. It's just, that's the way video games hit me. And Metal Gear really helped me out with that. And it might sound corny, but for what it's worth, Hideo Kojima is somebody that I personally thank for that. Otherwise, even though it's not a job, that is what's kept me writing. And just to have that GSD, that getting shit done, like I appreciate that, just to sit down, and that's my inspiration. My start mainly came from my parents. I don't know, did y'all have parents that did they kind of game when you were little kids?
Not in the slightest.
Yeah,
I mean,
mine were worried
maybe
about me wasting my time. Yeah.
Mine took our Nintendo into their room. I'm just playing. I remember my father really getting into it, and I was a little kid, and I couldn't understand some of the games. My grandmother had bought us a Nintendo when it was like the thing, and I just wasn't there yet mentally to be able to really handle more than like Duck Hunt or Mario. And
also, you're good at shooting
Wizards
things at a young age, huh?
Yeah. I remember getting a Power Glove for a birthday. Man, that thing was hot garbage.
Nice.
But it was so cool.
I bet you were stoked at the time, though.
Oh, dude. Oh, man. I was like bleeding out of my ears with excitement. My brain couldn't take the pressure until I started trying to use it. And like,
you realized that it was just some plastic. And
have you ever seen one do its thing, guys? Like, have you ever seen the setup?
I mean, yeah, for sure. I've watched like the commercials of what it was supposed to be, and that looks really
Those
cool.
commercials never showed you the entire plastic array that you had to install onto your television for the glove to talk to it.
Yeah.
And do you guys remember the one that PlayStation released? It was kind of along the same lines.
No.
Yeah, PlayStation released one, and it was also garbage. I actually got to use one. I never had a Power Glove in my hands, but yeah, Sony released one. Yeah, horrible decision they made, but it looked cool at the time. I was excited to put it on.
Yeah,
Felt like
dude.
a Power Ranger or something.
Digital Gauntlet. Just like, yeah. Like RoboCop, like 1/32 of a RoboCop. Like,
Yeah.
Dude, I do see this the PS video game control glove, and it is
you
pretty
looked it up?
horrendous. Oh yeah, dude.
I'm not quick enough to be able to Google while we're talking. It's I cannot wait to check. I've never heard of that. But anyway. So my father really got into Wizards and Warriors and the Goonies, and they're really tough games. Actually, I came back to them as an adult, and pretty nar. My mom was always on the computer. She played King's Quest. She played the heck out of King's Quest. So my first memories of gaming are actually with my mom, and she enjoyed B.E.S.T. and things like that. The first game I can really remember being like excited, like thinking about it at school and can't wait to get home is probably a game called Descent, which played a lot like Doom, but it had a Z-axis. It was kind of in a 3D space because you were a ship. And I think that's where my inverted nature came from.
There's something that corrupts you to think that way.
You want to fight about it? You want to fight about it, bud? There's nothing wrong with inverted.
I'm sorry. My fighting controls don't invert, so can you still fight with me?
Whatever, dude. Sorry, it's pilot talk, dog.
God, he
Different field. You know what?
I do play inverted when I do fly, so I mean it does make sense for me there. And I get if you played some flying games or something like that as you're young, then yeah, that would totally make sense.
That's okay, bud. Just don't participate in the new invertimism movement going on right now. Just be insensitive in public. Why don't you just do that? Why don't you just insult your co-host in the middle of the show?
We don't serve your kind around here.
You're an artist.
Now, Skeeter, he ain't hurting nobody. He's just trying to look up. But what really gets me, what really grinds my gears, is when you go into a game and you need to change your y-axis, and it says inverted or normal. Like what? Like, I can understand you put in default, but it's normal or the other normal.
I mean, it should be called right and wrong, but
good and evil. Good guys, bad guys.
Yeah, totally. Shirts and skins.
It should just be arrows to just take the English language out of it and just be completely metaphorical.
Yeah,
anyway, I keep derailing us. I'm sorry, man. I'll make it short. Mainly, I figured that out, my inverted nature. Honestly, I didn't figure it out then. I just know that's kind of how it got coded in my head to control. Because I didn't play a lot of games as, like, from 12 to, like, 18, 19. It wasn't until my first Halo LAN party that I was invited to, where I wasn't having a good time. I didn't get to play for like the first 2 hours because I kept losing, running around looking at the ground. And my coworkers said, well, why don't we try this? And switched it up, and all of a sudden, I was still pretty terrible, but at least I saw who was killing me and could coherently move around old Battle Creek.
Well, it's funny that, Halo, the original Halo was the first game in which I started to mess around with controls and remap stuff too. Yeah, it's weird. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take you off track, but that was the first game I discovered that as well.
Yeah, and that's the only thing I really did until that's actually a really good point. I don't remember when I started changing around controls, switching up buttons to make things easier. Maybe it was Mega Man X.
Yeah,
I think it was Mega Man X, because I think you could choose which button to dash. But I wouldn't have gone to that Halo LAN party if I hadn't got a job at a what is now known as a place that is notorious for not stopping selling games or the stop for games. This was back when it was a piece of it called Funko Land. And I got really remember Babbage's?
Remember KB Toys?
Remember Software, etc.?
Remember EB Games?
Dude, in a couple years, people are going to be saying, "Remember GameStop?"
Yeah, they will. Oh, it's weird.
Dude, I'll watch it burn. I'm sorry, they burned me so many times on those trade-ins. But I had that job, and I was excited. That's where I met my buddies there. I got invited to the Halo LAN party, and gaming was reignited through friendship and just seeing what modern technology can do, and then being around the culture. So even now I play games all the time, but we're doing a podcast. Eagle and I are part of a small business where we have an invention that has to do in the gaming field, and it's at the very least, if I don't get time to play games all the time, I loved the culture and the people of it so much. If I'm going to go to work or if I'm going to have a hobby, I want it to be video game related.
Yeah.
Even if I can't play it anymore, I still want to be part of it because it's exciting, it drives technology, and I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm with you, buddy.
Yeah, I think that's really all I got. Thank you. It took a lot of courage coming out here this evening. I don't have a problem. Y'all just have a problem with perception. And y'all should mind your own business. I'm done. Thank you.
Well, it's funny that you talk about your mom kind of playing King's Quest and Myst, because that was kind of my first introduction to games with my mom as well. She played King's Quest and Myst because of me. She'd go to the computer store and buy games. That's
what they say, right?
Well, she'd go to the educational section, and occasionally, the good people at CompUSA would slide in a good puzzle game in the educational section for us kids. So, between the jump starts and math blasters and things like that, we did get our King's Quest and Torrance Passage and, Myst, like you say. But, I think that my first memories of any game, I think it was called Battlezone. On the old computers, it was like you chose a tank. It was like first person style fighting, and I
think
loved
I played that too. Or I think I saw. Did you play with like a joystick, like a piloting type joystick?
I played it with the arrow keys and like spacebar fired. And that was about all it was.
Okay.
But I remember playing that in the computer labs at school, and that was, I still want that in my life. I'm sorry, I'm getting worked up.
No, I remember computer lab playing Oregon Trail. Infuriating.
Totally.
Yep.
Totally.
Infuriating.
You have died of dysentery.
Dude,
and your axle
typhoid.
broke.
Typhoid. I'm a kid. I don't know what typhoid is. How am I supposed to combat typhoid?
And why did we bring medicine? But anyway, so educational games, I think, were the gateway drug for a lot of kids in the early 90s, because there was the consoles out there. There was the Nintendo, and a little bit later the Sega, and before that Ataris and stuff like that. But the 90s, I think, was when a lot of kids gravitated over from these educational games over to the Sega and Super Nintendo and things like that. Personally, I had the Genesis, so my childhood was
Genesis kids too.
Arrow the Acrobat, Sonic, Echo the Dolphin. I had NBA Live 95.
Dude,
and it was
NHL
amazing.
95, dude. NHL 95, fantastic.
Dude, NBA Live 95, I had one of those turbo controllers in which you can kind of like
What?
set a macro on one of the keys.
What? With the 6 buttons on it?
Yeah,
like the super special ones?
For sure. So I'd set the turbo always on and just run around the court, knock everybody over, take the ball and dunk it. It was
That's how we do it.
Oh, dude. Exploiting
I was more of
games
an
from a young age.
NBA Jam person where that's completely within the rules.
Dude, that's real. That's
Dude,
how it starts.
you were on Genesis. You ever play the Disney games? Aladdin? I remember playing that
for
a
sure.
whole lot.
So that was like my parents' excuse for a lot of games they bought me were like these licensed movie games. Like we'd go see the Aladdin, and that was family friendly, so the game should be all right too. Little did they know the hellhole that is these licensed games in the early 90s, just designed to make you lose and keep renting them. Awful. Still have nightmares about giraffes.
Grueling. Just hour-long platform running levels.
Well, I know everybody out there left their console on for days straight. I know it happened.
Yep. I still do sometimes.
Yeah, that's real.
My mom would turn it off and be like,
Yeah.
I'd be so mad, and she wouldn't understand why.
Yeah.
She would think it's like a checkerboard that you just set the pieces up again. You just start a new game. No.
Yeah, okay, Mom, make that jump
No.
for me. Make that
I have
jump
a
again.
child's intellect. Do you know how much effort it's taken to get this far?
Yeah.
Speaking of the Genesis, y'all ever play a game? This was my favorite game. I had two favorite games for the Genesis: Rocket Knight Adventures and
Absolutely.
Gunstar Heroes.
Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Gunstar Heroes is one of my first games I can remember that I beat all the way through on my own, and I would just play it over and over and over again. Love those games.
Dude, I hear you. My games for me were Vector Man and
Nice.
Sonic Spinball were like the two games that I played
Oh my God.
like religiously.
The
Yeah.
memories. I could only get to the third board on Sonic Spinball.
Yeah, dude. I didn't really know that there were more things past the the original stuff just because I never beat it.
Yeah.
I thought they were just stage one.
I was very late to the game, understanding that you had objectives to accomplish to go on to the
Yeah.
next ones.
Games have come a long way in telling you what to do.
Yeah, yeah, like that jump from the from those consoles, like the Sega, up to like the N64. Did y'all ever have any of those?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. That was kind of when I got, I guess you'd say, semi-serious into playing everyday type of stuff, because the N64 was a golden eye machine for me.
Mm-hmm.
Did you guys get into James Bond at all?
Yeah, man. That's
Is-
the first FPS I ever touched.
It was before I came out as inverted. I didn't understand.
He's still in the closet.
No, I just didn't understand why I couldn't. It really actually made me insecure, in the sense that, like, I wanted to play this with my friends, and I couldn't. I could not play it. I kept running into the wall, giving myself motion sickness, looking at the ground and stuff, and so I did not like it, and it's not the game's fault.
Am I wrong for thinking that actually on GoldenEye it was default inverted? Because I feel like I played it inverted.
It was, if I remember correctly, there's no like camera stick until you aim, like with the right stick or the right trigger, and then when you pull that shoulder button, yes, it is inverted, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hey, Jacob, I was inverted once, man. You can get out of this. You can get better, dog.
Well, that's a different why in a different meeting, I think. But yeah, I remember the old N64. It was I bought it and I bought Zelda, and I think those were the only two. I think that was the only game I bought for it. Star Fox 64. How could I forget?
Yep.
Yeah, that was a big one for me too. And Pod Racer, that was the bundle that I bought. Like I was saving all my money.
That game was sick. I loved it how it like blurred the lines when you were hitting the boost and really made you feel like you were going super fast.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That was cool.
all the characters from the movie and stuff, really, it was immersive for sure. Going to the junkyard for your parts and all that stuff. I loved it. Siboba.
Nobody beats Simboba. Excellent.
What about you, Brent? What did you mess around with on the 64?
Well, I mean, really, it started before that. I remember a lot of Echo the Dolphin and just me being just kind of doughy-eyed and slow-brained. I don't know, like 4 or 5 playing this game and having no idea what I was doing, but I knew I was doing something. A lot of
Swimming.
Echo. Yeah, swimming around, jumping out of the water, and on that one stage.
A lot of loops. A lot of loops.
A lot of echolocation,
Yeah, shooting out your sonar. But with I had a lot of Mega Man sprinkled in there, a lot of Mario.
Which was your favorite Mega Man?
I have Mega Man X written down here just because that's the one that I can remember the most. I don't know if it was my favorite, but I'll say Mega Man X.
Nice.
Also, the Lion King. Yeah, man, I feel you with the pain of that game. It was just so insanely frustrating. That's legitimately the first game I can remember me playing and getting upset at.
Yeah.
For me not being able to figure it out. And it was really more me upset at the game that I remember than me being more upset at my incompetence at the game itself. But then, yeah, man, I played a lot of Sonic. My favorite was probably Sonic and Knuckles, though.
Mm-hmm.
For whatever reason, I loved Knuckles as a little kid.
They had so much attitude. I mean,
Yeah.
it was so edgy.
Yeah, edgy,
Makes
man.
sense. And look where we are today.
Look where we are.
The inspiration
Edgy
started young.
stance.
Did you guys ever play Jet Force Gemini on N64?
Holy
yeah,
buckets.
girl.
I have not heard that
Yeah,
combination of words in quite a while. I've seen it
Loved.
played. That's like one of my first memories of like an arena battler like that. Besides
Yeah.
like Twisted Metal.
Yep.
Oh,
Funny you say
dude,
that.
Twisted
Funny you say that.
Metal.
Yeah, my next one I'm about to bring up is I played a lot of Twisted Metal after school. This is when I was getting better at games and go from my buddy's house and we split screen cheat.
Like you can shoot down the Eiffel Tower.
Yeah.
Dude.
What was the guy I always played as? He was like the tank. He was like the most OP one in Twisted Metal. I think it was Twisted Metal 3. I can't remember.
I just remember
But,
Sweet Tooth was the clown, right?
Yeah, with the ice cream truck. Yeah.
I remember the dude with wheels for arms.
Mm-hmm.
He'd probably get along with Flashlight Face pretty good.
There was Minion. Was it Minion?
Maybe?
Yeah, he was supposed to be like the most OP of them, right?
Okay, was he? And you had to like beat the game to unlock him or something in multiplayer?
Yeah, that sounds vaguely familiar.
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm gonna need a
Played-
therapist to work those memories out. Like I cannot remember.
Well,
I need to be like
Past life
hypnotized.
regression over here.
Well, that's why we're here talking about these things right now, Jacob. But yeah, and then I remember a lot of watching people play Resident Evil. I wouldn't play it myself because I was too scared of them. But
the people
when Resident
playing
Evil-
or Resident Evil?
No.
Oh, dude, the dog show.
Honestly, a
You
little
know the
both.
hallway with the windows and the dogs.
I
Yep.
remember.
That got everybody. I don't care who you are.
Yep. And lickers, isn't that what they were called? Crawling on the ceiling.
Yep.
Yeah.
The liquors,
Scared-
Randy.
You lickers. Who you calling a cootie queen?
But then really Resident Evil 4 came out I had it on the GameCube and I was obsessed with that game. I played it over and over again.
4 was great.
Unlocking like the I think it was called the Chicago typewriter. It was like a Tommy gun with infinite ammo. So I mean after you beat the game on like the hardest difficulty or whatever, you can unlock that and just like run through the game.
That was the first one with the mercenaries mode on it too, right?
Yeah.
That was on 4, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I mean if you didn't get enough fill with the game itself, then you go into mercenaries and really waste some time getting those stars.
Combo time. All my buddies will remember that. It's combo time.
But
As far as did you ever do PlayStation, Brent?
well, no, see that's the thing. I myself never owned a PlayStation, but all my friends did, and I was fine with that because they all had PlayStations, so I didn't really need one. Go over there, play like Battlefront or whatever. I own Genesis and N64 and GameCube, and then my mom bought me an Xbox for Christmas one year. Didn't even realize Xbox was a thing. And I was like, what is this? And that's when I first started playing Halo, which, I mean, I feel like this is a story that we all share and a bunch of kids out there now share. Mm-hmm. But, Halo really changed everything in video games. That's when I got serious. I mean, I would play the campaign over and over and over again. I'm sure you guys have done it as well. But then, I would play it on the hard difficulty and then eventually ending up on legendary just to have like a real challenge, facing you because I played it so many times. And then, when you put on legendary, it kind of changes the game, like how you play it. You really have to tackle obstacles from completely different directions.
It really changes you. Well, I never played the campaign early on. Like that LAN party had me loving the multiplayer aspect of it, and then I went and bought a Xbox for Fable, and then 5 hours later, after I beat Fable, I'm like, well, what next? So then
I was lied to, Peter Molyneux.
So
That's strange. So you just jumped right into the multiplayer of Halo first?
Oh yeah. I mean, I didn't play the campaign for Halo honestly until years later.
Fair enough.
I don't think I played the single player campaign for Halo until after Halo 2 was out.
Man.
Yeah.
Whatever.
The campaign was definitely not the focus for me either, but it was it was definitely something I played through with my mouth agape, just like, wow, they can put this realistic movie in a game. You know,
I can play the silent cartographer with my eyes closed though, because of the demo machine. In the video game store I was working at.
Oh my gosh!
Where you had to hold that basketball they called a controller.
Yeah,
the Duke.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that thing was. I don't know what they were thinking on that. But then I remember I was over my parents' friend's house, and they had an Xbox, and they were playing Ghost Recon, the first one, where it was like first person, but it was. You guys ever play it?
No, like Advanced Warfighter, or like even before that.
No, the original Ghost Recon for the Xbox.
I do not remember playing that.
Pretty much had a reticule and like a very limited HUD of just pretty much showing you your grenades and grenades and ammo. There wasn't even a gun on screen. But he was playing Ghost Recon, and I asked him if I could play, and he said sure, and he puts a headset on me.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was online, and that, I don't know if you guys remember the first time you played online.
Oh, dude.
Dude, it blew my mind. I was like, wait, I'm playing with other people that aren't in this room on the same screen as me? This is amazing.
Dude, I will always remember it the first time I got online to play, and that was Halo 2. And my friend Dusty, who was really into it, was just like there with me. He's like, oh, you're in a lobby? Oh, now you're getting the butterflies, aren't you? And he was so right, dude. I was so nervous.
Mm-hmm.
But it's all good. I got over it. You know.
Do you remember those feelings of getting into a lobby and just seeing somebody pop in that was some rank that you had never seen before?
Yeah, totally.
It was like, oh, no.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm a 23. Oh, I'm a moon. Like, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was your guys' highest levels you got in Halo 2?
33, because I refused to cheat.
Holy
and at that time,
Jesus.
At that time, you couldn't go any higher without getting hacked.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or standby lagged.
I think I peaked at 25, but typically rolled around 19.
Oh, I had to run with a crew. I had people that like we all knew when we got off work, and you know it's yeah.
What was your guys' clan names?
The Cloven Hoof.
Yep. Nice.
We were really into Satan.
The Cloven Hoof.
I ain't even lied to you, bud. My first gamer tag, Redline Overload, straight from a Kenny Loggins song from Top Gun.
Wow.
Oh my god.
And my next gamer tag was C is for Crunk. For sure, but
I still got my OG. You know, I was a 12-year-old and got Xbox Live, and I was like, what will enrage grown men if they see on the kill feed that you just got killed by? And I was like, Mr. Doodoo Man.
Yep.
Nice. I think my favorite gamer tag I've ever seen in my life was a radio, all caps, and the person would always he would put his headset by the speaker of his stereo, and so when you played with him, it was just music pumping in.
Yeah.
Oh, I hated those. Getting into a lobby of just Justin Bieber blaring, or just like, oh, no.
Oh, well, boys, I'm a little bit older than you. So back then it was
In Sync and Backstreet
like,
Boys
sweet,
back then.
sweet destiny, baby. When I close my eyes. Just playing. It wasn't that long ago. I'm pretty sure the dates don't sync up for all that. Yeah, man, all these memories, you know, like this entire time we were talking about consoles, I spent a lot of time in the local mini golf arcade complex playing Tekken Tag Tournament, Marvel vs. Capcom. When I was younger, I would save my allowance for Comic Book Wednesdays and go to New York Pizza. We'll go to the comic book store and then go to New York Pizza right next door and spend my quarters on X-Men Children of the Atom.
Ooh.
Nice.
Eating oversized slices of pizza.
Dude,
just
that's
being
real.
Yeah, just being an exceptionally cool kid. You know. Yeah, I think it was a roller rink that I saw Street Fighter 2 for the first time. Somebody did the spinning bird kick by Chun-Li, and I'm like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah.
Dude,
Yeah,
Tekken 2 was the first game I ever, like, rage quit. Like, I punched the ping pong table I was sitting at.
I cannot imagine you, dude. Eagle is cool as a cucumber, man.
Yeah. It was that
cannot-
stupid dude with the stone flip flops. I don't know his name, but hate that guy.
Aichi.
Bless
That's
you.
bald
Did you
except
nail
for
it?
on the tall of his head. Yeah, doesn't tight. That's bald except for like the spikes of hair on the side of his head.
Yeah,
Like
dude,
he's
looking
only
like
got like a half Dragon Ball haircut
Ace
going.
Ventura. Yeah.
Ace Ventura. Nice.
I played more of Mortal Kombat's. I definitely played Tekken, but a lot of the Mortal Kombat's. I loved them.
Nah, dude. I was a Street Fighter Capcom person, not a Mortal Kombat
Yeah.
person.
I was a Street Fighter.
I was. I got done with the circuit, but it pulled me right back in.
Fought on the street.
I had a wife and kids, so I had to do it digitally for their safety.
And they punched my girlfriend in the tummy, and then it was Streets of Rage.
But what?
That's how Streets of Rage starts.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, you're not lying. I just wasn't. I wasn't
yeah.
prepared.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Deep cut.
Blindsided by that one.
Did y'all ever play? I have a confession to make about the PlayStation. I never bought Tony Hawk Pro Skater. I just played the demo disc over and over and over and over again.
Just the warehouse,
Dude, for sure.
just 100 times a day.
This is the warehouse 100 times a day.
Yep.
I do remember scooping a Dreamcast for $50 on sale at Best Buy. That was pretty tight.
Was that one of
Rage
those
on
things
some
you
Soul
bought it
Calibur.
at the end of its life cycle? Like,
Oh yeah, dude. Oh yeah. I don't know
Dude.
what happened. It was so ahead of its time. I mean, it was already ready for internet and all that.
well, it's just kind of like what's going on with you getting your PlayStation 4 now is that like you already have this huge library of things
Yeah.
to just cut through, and all of them probably at a reasonable price as compared to their like $60 releases.
Yeah. NBA 2K was Sega though, and that's what turned me over to the Sega sports games back when I loved NBA and NFL, the 2K series, the early ones. I remember them being a lot better on the Xbox because the Xbox could outshine the PlayStation because of its hard drive. So if you remember that old NFL 2K with T.O. on the cover, Terrell Owens catching when he was wearing the Eagles uniform back at man, I'm older than you guys.
Remember?
But
No, dude, totally. I had
Well,
all
big-
those sports games. Oh,
because it had the hard drive, you could see what am I trying to say? Because the Xbox original had the hard drive within it, you could see highlights of the actual game you were playing, and I thought that was so cool.
Oh, yeah.
yeah.
Whereas the
Do you guys
PlayStation-
remember when they NFL 2K or whatever it was did the first person mode?
Yes,
They need to do that
No.
again.
they can't because that was back. They had to stop. EA bought the exclusive rights to names and jerseys and teams from NFL, and it's just been that way ever since.
I know, dude. They need the first person. I bet
That
it'd be
was
so
cool.
cool nowadays.
Dude, I do have memories of trying this out, and I'm like, oh, this is making my stomach hurt.
I
So,
remember like actually having like a mini panic attack with like linebackers rushing me like
Well, you were a football player in your high school and college days yourself, man. So I would figure you'd be like right at home, right?
I am a black man in NBA or NCAA 2006. So I'm close but no cigar. And to preface that, I'm not a black man in real life, so they had everything else right, just except for my skin color.
NBA 2000. I remember those. Remember the NBA Live games and how terrible their animations were? Like, especially when you were lining up for a free throw and you're just sitting there with, like, Velociraptor face. Because, like, polygons were so bad back then. Just like, rah, rah,
And the shooting
like,
is
dribbling
just
the
like-
ball, getting ready to shoot the ball.
I love the shooting because it's like, how hard do you want to throw it? And do you want to throw it at the middle of the rim? Like, well, yes and yes, please. Like, it was such a weird mini game, you know?
It was specifically why I like 2K more. The NBA 2K, that is. The viewing perspective was up and down instead of right to left. You know, up the court or down the court. And the free throw shots, you had to pull the triggers on the Dreamcast. You had two arches, visible arrow arches on either side of your screen, your HUD. And the more you pulled the trigger on each respective side, you try and sync those arrows up together to make one arch into the basket, and then you press the button. So if you're like Shaquille O'Neal, you know, like the character, if you're playing on the team, when you're pulling those triggers, nothing happens. You're going to miss. But, you know, if you have a better shooter, you know, the arches would sync up together a lot more easy. This is really hard to describe
I'm
without
following.
pictures. Okay, good. Because I've been known to talk too much, so I don't want to drown y'all in context. I'm just saying, like, the difference between those was all the difference to me as far as the basketball game goes.
I'm just at a loss of words because I have never been into sports video games.
I'm not anymore because I think it's just more of the same thing.
Yeah, I just never got into them. Did you guys ever get into PC gaming ever?
When I was very young, you know, we played some adventure games and stuff, but the
Commander?
console was always for me just because it was, you know, kind of a separate thing. You know, like my mom could buy this and plug it into a TV and not worry about it. You know, I couldn't get myself into trouble.
Well, did you guys ever play the Orange Box, which pretty much incorporated PC games? I mean, some of the biggest PC games onto console. Did you guys play the Orange Box?
Yeah, I got the console counterpart. That's where my love for and obsession for Portal began.
Same here.
Yeah.
Did you guys
Team Fortress was on that too, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Half-Life.
I never played Half-Life, and I really wish that I had because I don't like old stuff. I can't go back and watch old-timey movies. I love Led Zeppelin, but I can barely handle listening to it these days, like with audio quality and stuff that we have now. So it's hard for me to. It's the same thing with video games. It's hard for me to be like a retro, you know, appreciator.
Yeah.
These days.
I will say I'm in the same boat with you, Jake. I never played through Half-Life 1 or 2, but I will say I'm kind of the same way. I don't really like to watch or play, you know, things that have been improved upon. But I did watch a full playthrough of Half-Life 1 and a full playthrough of Half-Life 2, and they were both very impressive. Like, cause you can.
I was gonna say they probably hold up pretty well.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say that they hold up well, you know, because the graphics aren't great, and you know the gameplay. You can see where a lot of things have been improved upon, but you can also see like the framework for a lot of other games. You know, long before they were made, and that is somewhat rewarding.
It's that Source engine.
Yeah, dude.
Source.
Dun, 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 dun.
Source.
I don't know. I played a lot of Counter-Strike Source.
Yeah.
And I was obsessed with that game. Because, I mean, you know, you guys know how Counter-Strike works, really. The base of it's just an FPS shooter.
Yeah, shoot the face of the other player. Correct?
Yep. Bomb defusal or hostage rescue. Yeah.
Yeah.
You do one of three things. But in Source, when they pretty much opened up the engine to the community and people were making things called like surfing maps, where it's hard to explain, but people would mod the game and like make RPG servers like inside of the raw game itself, and you could get like certain powers, and by killing people, you know, you got like, you know, experience, and you can level up certain things and different skill trees within Counter-Strike Source. And I played those RPG servers a lot.
Yeah, a lot of like full-fledged games have come out of, you know, players just starting to mod, you know, existing games like that.
Yeah, I mean, Counter-Strike came out of Half-Life. I mean, Counter-Strike was a mod in Half-Life, and then it became its own IP.
Yeah, that's what I've heard as far as the lore goes.
Yeah.
The scribes tell tales.
I didn't do a lot of it, bud, because like when I was younger, I remember when the internet came out. That's how freaking old I am, bud.
I mean, yeah.
I remember when it came out. The release
I
date.
remember turning on one song on Napster, then coming back the next day and it not being downloaded yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
But yeah, and they charged it by the hour, and so we just couldn't be online.
Mom would pick up the phone and ruin everything.
Mom!
But quickly, just to go back to Counter-Strike, but I mean, it's crazy because like it came out of Half-Life as a mod, and now Counter-Strike Go is in the top 3 most played games on Steam daily. That hovers from anywhere from the number 1 to number 3. You know,
Well, it's also
becoming big
interesting.
in the esports, and people are getting paid to play it. It's crazy.
And, you know, you see another game that is coming out with a full head of steam like that as well. You know, PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds was built off a mod for Arma. You know,
Yeah.
Like that's you're seeing these games. Basically, you know, they have a community built, and then they use that community to leverage, you know, building a full-fledged game.
Yeah, and I think that's a really like. I feel like it's happened naturally. It didn't take really much force to get it to where it is like that. Like basically community-driven mods, and then really paying for the game themselves, the game that they want to play. And I feel like we're gonna see a lot more of that in the future. You know what I mean? Games really kind of built by the community, not directly, but you know, the devs are a player. You know, they know exactly what they want, and they'll implement those games, you know, more and more like that.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there. The people having their hands and the people with the money these days are the ones that grew up with this stuff. So they really have a very subjective stance on it.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of makes you think, you know, you look at a company like Valve and, you know, you can just kind of tell that Valve has been ahead of the curve with a lot of things.
Yeah.
And, you know, you got to wonder what do they think is next, you know, because they do Dota, correct?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not
Oh,
big
was-
into Dota. I would assume so.
That's not Blizzard?
No.
Okay.
Well,
I'll sit
anyways,
down.
you know, you've got these huge games that come
Yeah,
out.
it's Valve. Sorry. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
You know, you got Dota, you got Counter-Strike, you know, the Portal and Half-Life phenomenons and stuff before things were going. And, you know, Counter-Strike and Dota being mods coming out of other games. You know, what's the next game that they're going to take the mods from? You know,
Yeah, I wonder where it makes me. It begs the question. Like, I should have had this research done, but that's so interesting to me that you bring that up. Like, did Left 4 Dead come out like this? Like,
Yeah.
you know, was it spawned by a
I-
mistake or spawned by user-generated content?
No, I'm pretty sure Left 4 Dead was a mod on top of Counter-Strike.
Man, that game was so fun with your buddies.
Maybe Half-Life. I think, yeah, either Counter-Strike or Half-Life, but yeah, it was a mod, you know, like the zombies mod, you know, like in Halo 2, you know, when you played zombies, you got killed by the sword, and then you went to the green team, you know? But now, you know, it's what, Infection? Is that what it's called now in Halo 5?
Oh,
Yeah.
man, it's been complete. I remember Halo 3. Was it Halo 3? They started putting in the color filters and making it really spooky.
Oh my gosh, dude! Yes,
Everything
hated
was
that.
like black and white except for red. Except
You'd
for the
have
color
these
red.
like, you know, Forge maps that were like bent the laws of physics. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh man, I'm in a haunted house.
Yeah.
Oh,
Dude,
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, me and my buddy, we would get home from school and literally take hours to like set up, you know, just punching crates in Halo 2 to set it up, and then open up the server and then play zombies. And we would play all night, go to sleep, wake up, go to school, come back
Punch
home, and
crates.
people are still in our server playing. You guys remember that?
Oh yeah, totally.
Did
bro.
you play like Halo
crazy.
PC?
No. I got in the PC. I started playing PC in high school, so I was probably like 16. No. I mean, Halo came out in what, 2001? Halo Combat Evolved for Xbox.
I would say that's a good guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I started PC gaming when I was like 16, and then I built this PC that I have now. If you guys can hear it, I'm sure you can. Like 4 years ago.
Well, you're about to
So-
change that up, bud, right?
Yeah. I
Making
just
moves.
got some new CPU coolers from Noctua. I'm really excited. Some of the best fans in the world coming from Germany.
Nah, I'm gonna say the best fans
German
in the
engineering.
world are subscribers right now.
Hey.
Beautiful. Oh, you guys
we love
are.
you
guys
guys. Nice. I
Well,
want to
so
paint
too-
all of your portraits.
Oh man, it's gonna be gorgeous. I'd like to commission a portrait of myself from you as well.
No, you don't, but that's cool. I'll do it.
Well, so to bring it back around to kind of some current times, I know we've been talking a lot about ourselves for kind of chronicling who we are as we start this journey. You're talking about some zombies. You know, we talked last week about Call of Duty getting announced, and throughout this week we've got a lot of information on Call of Duty World War II coming this fall.
Yeah, big deal. Big deal.
It
Happened
is.
in between our recording sessions, so we're a little late to the game as far as covering it.
Yeah,
Pun
and so,
intended.
but that kind of gives us the advantage of we know everything about it. So thank you, Kotaku and IGN, for doing all the legwork.
And my internet access.
Is this a response to Battlefield 1? Or was this going to happen, or were they going to take a step back regardless?
Well, so this game's been in development since Advanced Warfare came out. It's Sledgehammer Games, so it's been in development for a few years, so I would say probably not a response, as more of, as gamers ourselves, we can kind of tell the temperature of, the near future shooters, the past few years, kind of feeling that bubble, right? Every game you can wall run. Every game you can have a grappling hook and jump packs. It's
like
drones.
Evolution of the player's movement and abilities as opposed to, necessarily difficulty in new kinds of enemies.
Correct.
And maps.
Yeah. And so I think it's more of a response to the community, which is welcome. We saw Battlefield do the same thing with Battlefield 1 last year, and to great success. Community and fans of the series really loved it.
And then we all saw Infinity or Infinite Warfare and Advanced Warfare set up on pikes.
Yeah.
And displayed for people to see of what the public's capable of doing to your game if they don't like it.
Yeah. So, in an investor call earlier this year, the guys at Activision said that Call of Duty is going back to its roots. Just straight up and down. What made Call of Duty great? It was World War II. It was modern military. Let's go back there.
Getting all Medal of Honor on everybody.
Dude, that's real.
That's
Medal of Honor got all of Call of Duty on everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Convoluted past.
Dude, it is. But so, anyways, some information has come out about World War II. One of the interesting things that I saw about it is they said that there's going to be a social space, and they've described that to the tower to Destiny. So
that's awesome.
Kind of multiple players kind of hanging out, maybe a place to upgrade your gear or, change some stuff out. That seems really cool to me.
Yeah. I agree.
They showed some pictures of like a beach that had been landed on and taken over by the Allies, and like maybe 40 or 50 players walking around. It seemed pretty cool.
Yeah. I'm not one for military simulators. And so, to me, there's always been a line drawn between Halo and Call of Duty. I look at the way I play Halo and look at it, it feels more like a sport game as opposed to a military simulator, where Call of Duty's about real deal fighting a war, and that's not really my niche. That being said, I'm excited for y'all. If you're into the Call of Duty, I know Eagle is very, very much. And I'll be happy to hold your keys and cell phones and wallet for you while you go on that ride, bud. But I'm good.
Well, you've always been more of a sci-fi guy anyways.
Oh, dude, I love it to a fault. I don't even know that I love it. And then, it's just noticing trends of giant robots and, spaceships and, gator belts and patty melts that I realize that I really love that. I love that stuff.
I'd say this is the first Call of Duty that I've taken a second look at. It's since, I don't know, Black Ops 2. So I'm excited for it. I hope they really do, because I used to play Call of Duty all the time, man. I mean, they were good games.
Yeah, and I feel like, going back to a more simpler time in which there's the movement abilities aren't really there. It's more of the shooting and thought process, the tactical side of it. I think that could be really cool. They've talked about having these multi-stage battles in a new mode called War, which in my mind kind of seems something like Operations in Battlefield.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like a longer, more involved battle, which, without movement abilities and stuff like that, that could be more interesting. The push and pull of a fight like that seems cool.
And speaking of, we're talking about games without campaigns and such. I was reading, and you mentioned to me too that this one is supposed to feature a separate campaign for people who want to do co-op, which I love that idea. I always like games that have that.
Yeah, so it's a little hazy on the details. They've been kind of vague on the co-op side of things, but what it sounds like is that there's a separate co-op experience. So some speculation had been around Spec Ops, if you remember that from the Modern Warfare series.
Oh, yeah. I do.
Kind of like some bespoke missions and stuff, which could be cool. Or, they could also be talking about something like zombies, because that has definitely taken a life of its own as well, into something that they could consider like a co-op narrative experience.
Get on the old Zombieland bus again.
Well, I mean, they definitely have confirmed Nazi zombies. So
I mean, you have to at this point, especially if you're going to do World War II.
Totally.
Not quite my bag, but I understand why people are excited. I'm excited about this Sexy Brutale. Or is it Sexy Brutale? I mean, it sounds like a really attractive pasta dish. Because I'm ignorant of other people's cultures and how they pronounce things. Like, I'll have the Sexy Brutale with a salad.
Yeah. Hold the onions.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, dude. So I've kind of heard this game called the Sexy Brutale tossed around in the news recently. It came out this week on all platforms, and so it was $20. I decided to jump in. It's done by the same guys that did Guacamelee, Tequila Works. Do you remember them?
Yeah, that game was so fun.
Dude, it was. It was a lot of fun.
Crazy. It did, and it's like somebody busted a piñata all over it. It's just nothing but colors and just festive atmosphere. It is really cool.
Yeah. So, the Sexy Brutale. So to set this up a little bit, the name is kind of misleading. The Sexy Brutale is the name of a casino, which is kind of a neat name for a casino. I could see myself going there, playing some blackjack. Putting on my leather mask and getting spanked. Taking it back a little bit.
Cards, but what kind of casino is this?
But so to describe this game a little bit, I'm going to preface this with this game is really original and unique, at least to me. So it's tough for me to put into words. But it's kind of like a top-down, like isometric style view of your character as you walk through rooms in this casino. And in this casino, all of the employees are trying to kill the guests, and you are trying to stop these murders, like kind of like a game of Clue, murder mystery type of thing.
Yeah.
But the whole hook to the game is that you only have 12 hours in the day, and then it's like a Groundhog Day style situation, which you wake up again in the morning, and you live the whole same day. So you do it over and over and over again and try and find like new ways to save or stop things from happening. It is so cool.
So you have the freedom to find new ways. It's not like trying over and over again to find the formula to fit every objective in one 12-hour period.
Right. So to the best of my knowledge, there's like maybe 10 people to save. And you can't save them all at the same time. You save them one at a time. Like the first guy gets shot. And it's like, how do I save this one guy from getting shot at 4 o'clock? And as you go out throughout the day, you'll hear other people being murdered. And it's like, all right, some dude gets thrown out of a window at 2. Or, this lady hangs herself at 3. But, you got to figure out one step at a time. And it's got some real cool, like old school adventure game qualities in which like you find an item, but it doesn't tell you what to do with it. You just got to like try it on everything. It's like, all right, well, I got a pocket watch. What do I do with it? I'm
really looking forward to trying this out. We've been streaming and beaming lately, so I think I'm probably going to be getting on old Beam in a little bit. And if anybody wants to follow us, best way right now, we're getting the Facebook lined up, but Twitter at BestCastAlive. Unfortunately, we have a very long title for our podcast, so we had to get a little creative with our Twitter handles. But if you find us on there, you'll find all the information and links to check Scott out on Beam, or I'll be on Twitch with my PlayStation, and Brent will be on PC. Just streaming and beaming.
Senor.
Heck
and check us. You've obviously heard this podcast, so you found it some way. But it is available on iTunes. It is available on Stitcher. Correct, Jake?
Yeah, it sure
Sweet.
is.
Yeah.
Podcast Addict.
Yeah, be sure and rate and review us there. That really helps us out a lot. and we appreciate to hear your thoughts. Hit us up on Twitter, or you can email us at edgystances@gmail.com. That's an easy way to get in touch if you need more than 140 characters.
For sure. Well, what do you think, boys? I think this has kind of reached a natural bow on it, so to speak. Are we going to do spoilers this week?
If you got them.
I smell some spoiled meat in my fridge. I can tell you all about it.
Okay. Well, let's call less call for everyone who is. I personally have things to talk about with Horizon Zero Dawn. Really been having a lot of fun with it. So all of our PlayStation 4 listeners out there that haven't played it yet and don't want it to be spoiled, it is right up my alley, all sci-fi and stuff. So I'm going to gush. I will let you know. Now would be the time to press pause and then rate and review us on your podcast catching software.
Yeah, that'd be pretty tight. And I've got a couple thoughts on Battlefield 1. I finished up the final vignette mission in that. I'll spend just a couple minutes talking about that.
Yeah. So we love our listeners. We love you guys.
I love you.
Yeah.
This is just give you a little.
Is that a little too direct?
Little smooch.
No matter how you show your affection, listener out there, just remember to stay embered.
Have the best day you've ever had. And stick around for spoilers, too.
Map. Okay, they're gone. All right, guys.
Oh, hey, guys.
Yeah, hey, so, we just met each other at that meeting, and, we're just going to go get a drink, kind of.
Wait, but isn't that against the rules?
Not in this office, boy.
Hey, okay, well, maybe two of us are just going to get a drink then, I guess.
I already took my pants off.
Oh,
well, as
it
they
was
say,
hot in there.
after the party, there's the after party. And after the after party, there's the spoily doily. So here we are.
Shit, I always thought it was hotel lobby.
Yeah.
Hit me up with some Horizon, man. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I want to know.
Live from the Hotel Motel Holiday Inn. So let's get into it, boys. So you knocked out Battlefield 1, finally, huh?
Yeah, dude. It came out in the fall, and I have just finished the 10-hour campaign.
10-hour campaign.
Well, it was broken up into like 6 or 7 little stories.
Yeah.
So, and they don't have anything to do with each other except for like being in World War I. So you can kind of play them in small chunks, and that's what I did. I just had the last one to do, which was Lawrence of Arabia, which was kind of neat. But why I wanted to put this in the spoiler section is this campaign's not that great. It was very mediocre.
Yeah, I stopped before Lawrence of Arabia, that part, and I was just like, no, I'm probably just gonna play the multiplayer.
Yeah, like Lawrence of Arabia mission was basically. Are you familiar with the Behemoth train in the multiplayer?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. I'm ranked 10 in all 4 classes.
Okay, so the campaign mission was basically you in the Sinai Desert taking out the Behemoth train. That's basically it.
Like that's the whole thing?
For the most part, I mean, you kind of go around to a couple bases to acquire the codes to the train, but then it's basically just a fist fight with it.
Does it take as long to kill as it like
this
it does
arcane
in multiplayer?
warfare?
No, probably half the time.
Half the time, yeah.
It's like
that thing can take some damage.
Yeah. Now the one thing I will give Battlefield 1 over any other game is the look. It looks so stunning.
Mm-hmm.
Just the sun glinting off like the iron of my gun. It's just like there's some real cool things like that, but real weak on the story front.
I mean, that's Battlefield, though. I've never bought them and been like, I can't wait to play the campaign. Well, I mean, I guess Bad Company 1 and 2, those were fun campaigns, just because they're silly.
And the last thing, just to top off on the Battlefield front, is how Microsoft has started on their achievements showing you the percentage of players that have achieved them. Have you seen this?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
it's really neat, actually.
For completing the Battlefield 1 campaign, 9.49% of players have finished it.
What?
Jesus.
Dude, I popped it up. It popped up and it was rare, and I was like, "Ooh, what'd I do?" Oh, just finish the story.
It was rare.
9%. Only 9% of people have finished it.
That's outrageous.
So rare achievements are based on the percentage of people that actually get
Unlock
that
them.
achievement. I thought they were predetermined.
No.
No.
It's all done by community progress. So like
Yep.
if it's I think 20% of players are under, you'll get a different sound and a different icon when it pops up.
Oh, arigato sensei. Hi. I learned so much.
See, it is fairly new. So check it out on the achievements. They've done a lot of work to that dashboard.
Yeah.
I just know with a couple new games on the Xbox One that I've been playing, like Watch Dogs 2 and stuff, I was getting the really cool animated diamond achievement and all that,
Yeah,
and I'm like,
that's
look,
the rare one.
Yeah, but I was getting them a lot. And
Well,
I'm like,
'cause-
I'm not going to tell anybody that I'm good at video games in general. You know, I
You're
have
just
to
gonna-
learn from the tutorial, just like everybody
you just
else.
Gotta you just
Well,
gotta
we
show 'em all your
also
diamonds.
played that game right when it came out.
Shine bright like a diamond. Well,
But-
shoot, that's really cool.
Yeah, so that's about it for Battlefield. Just a kind of a week ending to a week beginning, which kind of makes it week overall.
But
Well,
did you have
you're one of the
did you have fun in the
10%ers, bud.
multiplayer?
No,
No, you didn't like the multiplayer.
nah, Battlefield multiplayer sucks.
What?
It's no fun, dude. It's too hectic.
I thought you liked this game, Eagle.
No.
No, I
I thought
don't.
I did too for about an hour, but once the pretty look of it wears off, no, dude, it's too hectic in the
Yeah, it's-
multiplayer.
It's slingshots and grenades with sticks on them, so it's not my style.
And
So.
30 people shooting at me. It's a lot. It's way too much.
I'm a fan of the Battlefield.
I can
franchise.
see the draw of it.
Well,
Totally.
that's good. That's good. Our show's a little bit more well-rounded with your expertise and opinion, then, my friend.
Well, yeah. But I checked you out on Twitch for a couple hours as you beat your head against the snap maw for a little bit.
Oh, you talking to me?
I'm talking to
we
you.
talking about? Dude, that was so fun. That was my first time streaming, and
It was
and
fun to
my
watch.
first viewers were Eagle and my mom. I'm just
Hey!
kidding. Eagle was there, and there were two more unknowns. I hope they follow us, and I hope they watch again. But yeah, that was really cool. I didn't know about my internet connection and what it could do, but that PS4 is pretty it's pretty efficient. I wasn't having any problems looking
Yeah,
back on
handles
the
it.
videos either. No skippage, but it was really cool. I always thought I was a little too fidgety. I'm a fidgety guy. I can't sit still.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think I'd be that entertaining, but it made 2 hours fly by like it was nothing, and it was a lot of fun. It was very fulfilling to play the game like that. It was cool. But are y'all curious about Horizon at all? I know I kind of been
Super.
baiting at it.
Yeah, dude,
But,
where you at in the story? Tell me what's going on.
Well, I'm about 15% in. So it's got this post-apocalyptic vibe. I know I mentioned that before. It is definitely Earth. Earth has been reclaimed because of the decisions that we have made. They kind of respond to that a lot and say, let me see, people are kind of, I don't want to say reduced, but they've built themselves back as tribal cultures with some advancements in their knowledge and such, but everything has taken a really religious undertone, and it's got this like Earth Day attitude about the people that came before, the old ones, took the goddess for granted and ignored it, and so a big devastating thing happened. We don't know what that is yet, but as I'm walking around, I'm seeing tanks, you know, every now and then kind of covered up, and you know, mossy tanks and all that. So
Like
you know,
a war tank, like a military tank.
Like a combat tank.
Mm-hmm. And you put together audio logs. There are these ruins that are forbidden, but you go in there and they're pretty. It's neat because you're walking around shooting arrows using very arcane type speak, and then you'll come across a. It's not a. Well, we are in the spoiler section, so I'll just say the first audio file I got was a hologram file. Now, keep in mind, I'm walking around in moccasins and stuff, like making my own bows and arrows out of sticks and rope, and then
Making
I turn
my
on
way
this
downtown.
hologram data point, and it's just a regular dude with a completely different, very American accent saying, "Happy birthday, Scott." I'm pretty sure his name was Scott, but you know, "Happy birthday, Scott." And it's like, before this even happens, it's like, I know I can't be with him, but we can still do this. Like, I can still talk to him. It's his birthday. And then, like, he starts, kind of just a very familiar type of dialogue and situation to, something our times. And you read these other data points, and they're talking about things that you and I would talk about doing today, modern people talk about today. And even more data points start to say things like, thank you everybody for your service. I suggest you start packing your things and heading to the west gate exit. It will be open for the next hour. Then it will shut down for us to suppress the machines who have gotten through the boundaries. And it kind of makes you build this narrative as you go without beating you over the head with it. They're so pious. A lot of these tribes are very pious, and you're Aloy. You're raised as an outcast. Okay, You're straight out of Stankonia, and
official name?
Yeah, you're Aloy 3000, and you have sick raps, and
and your partner, big girl.
You're taken care of by a fella named Rost, who is an outcast. It seems if you mess up, you don't go to jail. They don't keep you. They outcast you, where you're not allowed to talk to anybody. Even outcasts are not allowed to talk to outcasts. You got to make it on your own. And he was entrusted with raising you, Aloy, and you don't know why. In fact, this becomes the obsession of Aloy in her younger years. You get there is something called the Proving, which is at the very introductory narrative. As Aloy gets more and more curious, she finds her little Bluetooth in some ruins, and understands that there's more going on to the world than she had already known. And your benefactor, Ross, says that there's something called the Proving, where young people can compete and win to either have higher placement in their society, or someone who is outcast can have their wish. Like the winner has their wish, and outcasts can even participate if they're young enough. And so you participate to be able to gain your status back in the clan. And that's kind of the hook to you learning your skills to begin with. As you do this Proving, you're attacked, because there's a lot of politics between tribes. You're attacked, and that's kind of the whole thing right now. You're figuring out hows and whys. You get hurt very bad. You're taken into a sacred temple inside of a mountain. The reason that you find out that it's sacred and nobody's allowed in it is because there's giant metal computerized key lock doors that keep saying people aren't admitted or this and that, and they call this the goddess. And when in reality it's just it's like a Circle K that's locked up for the night. You know what I'm saying? Like,
no hot dogs for you.
Yeah, but still no answers where I'm at, because I'm still pretty early on. And they say that, Aloy, you were outcast. They still haven't quite said why, but they know that one thing we do know is that there was a large, large battle with a very large machine. You can see its carcass draped over the mountains in the background. And
some final boss foreshadowing?
Yeah.
Perhaps. I mean, this thing looks like a giant octopus covered in snow that is just derelict and not, used.
Derelict, Zoolander.
Derelict. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. And as you go, you one cool, and this is what I had actually streamed, the concept of cauldrons. And it turns out they call it cauldron because what I've put together so far, this is where these robots, these machines have been cooked up.
Yeah, kind of like a birthing ground, or
kind of like a factory, honestly.
Yeah.
And for your overriding skills to be able to make the machines work for you, you go to the different, I'm calling them companies, like Rho, Sigma, all named after, but that might not be right because Sigma and Rho are also both Greek alphabet characters. So there may be some different kind of contingency there.
True.
Or a different kind of connection there. But as you go through them, you gain more credentials so you can override more powerful machines, which are still a problem. I'm level 21, and I won't mess with anything above level 18 machines right now. Otherwise, I'll get stuck in a loop. And all of them are different. They have their different vulnerabilities. They're packed away in different places, and each one has their own strategy to take them down. And it is awesome. It's kind of slowed down because the narrative gets you going on a ride at the beginning, but now I've kind of settled into that you know, when you play an open world game and you're like that in between level, like you can progress with a story mission, or you do side missions for a little while and you kind of lose touch.
Yeah.
That's where I'm at right now. I've kind of lost touch a little bit, so I think when I stream later today, I'm going to continue on with the general story. I don't want to miss side items though, because I really want to 100% this game.
Yeah, seems like a good one, and with some meaningful collectibles to kind of fill in some story, seems like worthwhile to do it.
Not as much as Tomb Raider, but I do get that Tomb Raider vibe. And you can do action-wise a lot more than you'd expect, and the game accommodates that. You know, you can climb. It's really hard concept to explain, but the jump and climb, I've spent a good amount of time just trying to crawl up mountainsides, and then you'll find something up there, like a metal flower or something. I don't know. I could talk forever. Hopefully more next week. Because, again, I've been living at work this week, so I'm going to get some more time now that I'm finally through my gauntlet.
Tight.
Yeah. I just got a weird... Hey, Brent.
Yeah, I think Brent might be old on the disco floor, you know? Just
yeah.
Not having a doubt.
That's okay. It's about that time anyway. So, again, listeners, it looks like we're having technical difficulties. But, you know, we're new to this. We learn as we go. And we can still close out a show properly. So thanks, Eagle. And thanks, listeners.
It was a delicious time being here. Thank you guys for listening. It was a fun show. Give us some feedback. You know, rate and review if you can. That would be a big help to us. Yeah, we need some kind of feedback if that's okay. Don't troll us, but we're strong. We can take constructive criticism, but you know we're at show number 10 and we're still feeling out what we want to do with this. But I'm having fun so far. I am too, man. Yeah, and I'm sure Brent is very thankful to the crowd as well, and I'm also sure he's very sorry that he got dropped from Skype apparently, because my inbox is lighting up right now. Yep, same here. Yeah. Well, all right, Jake. It's been a lot of fun. Why don't we get out of here, buddy? Yeah. Oh, thanks, Eagle. And thanks, listener. You guys have the best day you've ever had. Faux show, bro.